G'day everyone, welcome back to another wheel-to-wheel broadcast. We're starting this one off with some technical issues, but they should be solved shortly. But yeah, we are here for our Split 4 stream. Very decent lobby of drivers here. We're currently going for a 1 hour, 17 laps in total, so you can be 1 hour if you're quick, maybe just over the 1 hour mark with the slower lobbies. Should be a very exciting race. But yeah, tonight with me in the commentary box is Queensland Devil Racer.
Good evening, Dragon.
Good evening, mate. It's great to have you here. And on the visuals tonight we have Ando787. So at the moment we are just waiting on the lobby to come back up. So we had a game crash, unfortunately. Should be back up shortly, and we should be underway.
Sorry guys, Ando here now. I'll take myself off mute.
But yeah, in the meantime, while we're waiting for that lobby to come back up, have you seen anyone that really piques your interest in the lobby list there, Queensland Devil?
Guys, I'm going to go with a dark horse here and throw a name out that no one would have thought of and go with Darth Berserk, one to look at. So made his debut last week at Nürburgring, I think it was, or maybe in Japan. So I spent a bit of time with Darth Berserk today, and hopefully took a bit of time off his lap times, and showed him a good technique to get that Mercedes of his off the line quick. So I think he'll be a dark horse and one that'll improve on his previous results anyway.
Definitely one to keep an eye on. I'd like to throw a couple of names out there from guys I've seen with some decent pace. Palmer has had some really good pace, and Fang also has been practicing a fair bit and has some decent pace. So
yeah, I like CS
Yeah, well, they've always got
CS Packet. That's another name that definitely could be towards the top end of the field come the end of the race.
Well, this is a split made up of Div 4 and Div 5 drivers. So we've got Our highest ranking driver at the moment is Hammy to the Bone from Flat Out Racing. He's ranked 4th in Division 4. We've then got Palm 86 from V Corsa. He's ranked 10th in Division 4. We've then got CS Packer from Sunday's Casuals. What's their livery, Dragon?
Oh, you mean the beautiful Milo livery?
That's the one. Yeah, that's right. So he's from Div 4 and ranked 11th. We've then got Soul Reaper from 13R Autosport. He's Div 4, ranked 12th. And then we've got our Div 5 drivers. So Fang's currently leading Div 5 from 13R. We've then got Gordo, who's second in Div 5 from V Corsa. We've got Renegade from Dam Racing, who's third in that Division 5. We've got LP Armands, who's a privateer. He's 5th. Tormentor from Flat Out Racing. He's ranked 7th in Div 5. And then we've got Mr. Navoli, the other privateer, ranked 10th in Division 5. Of course, Darth Berserk's in the D-League from being a newcomer to the league.
Yeah, and D-League always gives us some dark horses, some guys that you might not expect to come out at the top of the lobbies because they're newer. We don't know as much about them, but we've definitely got some quick guys hanging about in D-League at the moment, yourself included.
So what's the strategy for tonight? Yeah, you watched Div 1 and commentated on Div 1 earlier, Dragon. So you saw those guys. What was the winning strategy there, and would you have picked it if you were racing?
So the winning strategy was from Adam V, who decided to go for 6 laps on the soft start, 6 laps on the mediums in the middle sector, and then finished with a 5-lap run on the soft tyre to the end. So we could see something like that. We could see something similar but slightly different. The second place driver did 2 6-lap stints on the softs back to back and came home on 5 on the mediums. So there's a couple of little variations you could put in there, whether you want to do 5 on the mediums or 6, or how good you are with your fuel. We might see an extra stop added in if some of these guys aren't saving fuel as much as they want to. So
there were certainly a few people run out of fuel during practice during the week. I think I saw Oily run out no less than 4 or 5 times.
Yep, he lives up to the name of driving along on the smell of an oily rag. He definitely runs it close to the edge.
There was some teaming up too, wasn't there? That'll, I think, play a role in this race.
Yeah, definitely. If some guys in here decide to work together, not fight, and try and maybe break away from a pack, or just work together throughout the race to see if they can get a better overall time, it could make a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. It can certainly save you a lot of fuel if you're teaming up with someone and taking turns being the lead driver. It's quite easy in that thirsty Merc that I had. You can still stretch that out to 7 laps doing decent times if you can team up with someone.
Yeah, I found
and just alternate.
Yeah, I found that with the bit of bump drafting too, you could get easy an extra 10 k's an hour's top speed down that back straight.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and there's
a great band also.
And one of the reasons it works so well on this track is there's effectively 4 straights. So you've got that long one, but then you have 3 shorter straights as well, where your car is using bugger all fuel when you're following someone up those straights.
Yeah, it'll be all about if you can find someone that's the same pace as you and is on the same strategy as you, so you're on the same tyres and the same fuel level, then you can really team up together and make some inroads into the field.
And Ando, you let me down earlier. We were just talking about the new cryptocurrency, the wheel-to-wheel betting ring. And I put a big punt on you to come home on the podium, mate.
Oh, really? Just missed it, mate. Just missed it.
Missed it by that much.
Well, there you go. You learned your lesson there, didn't you?
I should have bribed. I should have bribed one of the other drivers to slow down as well.
Yeah, maybe. I couldn't have done much better than I did. So I nearly got my first podium in Premier League, but not quite. Next time.
You definitely had a cracking race.
Yeah, very happy with it actually. I couldn't have done much else different, so that was about all I had.
Yeah, and coming towards the top end of that top split field there is it's a pretty hard ask there. The top couple guys were in a whole nother league tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely put the time in, and so did I this week. Like, you know, there's no substitute for putting in the practice time.
Absolutely.
Other than one certain Kiwi in a Mitsubishi Lancer, who I hardly saw
Horrid
practice all
chrome
week.
Mitsubishi Lancer.
Some people are just freaks, but other than him, yeah, it was the guys that put in the time. They got rewarded this week.
Well, I can honestly say that as of 2 days ago, Pure Axel still hadn't decided whether or not he was even going to enter.
Wow. Yep. What can we say?
How
Some people
bloody
are just
rude,
quick.
honestly.
Yeah. So clearly hadn't put the practice in.
Must have been the car. That car was just too suited to this track, wasn't it? It's not fair. It's not fair.
Well, I had a go in the Mitzi and I couldn't get it. I couldn't get anything out of it around here.
Yeah, well, obviously, we can talk about this actually. The cars that will be suited here will be the power cars, won't they, for sure? You know,
Absolutely. Those
yeah.
guys in the Jag.
The Jags seem to be pretty well suited to this track, definitely. You know, cars like the Porsche and the Evo, I don't know how we did it, but those cars will, I think, be at a disadvantage because of their lack of top-end speed.
Yeah, we've definitely got a fair share of Jags in here. I think we've got a couple of... we've got CS Packer, we've got Fang, we've got Gordok. Who else is... there's still a fair few guys. Renegade in the Jag too, so about half the lobby made up of the Jag drivers.
Yeah, the Jags seem to be the new Corvette this season, don't they?
Absolutely, and everyone was worried that a lot of the teams would pick the Corvette. Everyone tried to not pick the Corvette, and here we are with a bunch of Jags. So we do still have a nice little mix on the field. We've got a Mercedes, we've got I think there's a Porsche, a Lexus, the Hyundai. I would hate to be in that thing, honestly. The captain did not look like he was enjoying that throughout the top split race, so... we've got a nice mix of cars throughout here.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the Hyundai certainly lacked pace in the practice races that I saw already earlier this week. How did Captain go in his?
He had a bit of a rough run. I believe he came towards the back end of the field.
Yeah,
and
I think
we
he
are
might
underway
have had some issues with regards to excursions. Let's leave it at that. I think.
Yeah, okay.
I think he was just a bit rough on the pace, really. He was struggling a fair bit with the medium tyre stint that he tried on the start, but...
Well,
He
qualifying
might have
is
been unlucky
underway.
with some incidents too, though, so we won't be too hard on the captain.
I'll make Captain slow side. He can make it up next week.
Well, qualifying's underway here. We saw 3:28 as the fastest time in practice. So I would imagine a 3:20, high 3:27 to low 3:28 is going to win the biscuit here tonight.
Yep, looks like we've got CS Packer, I think, leading the field around. The names are still a little bit scrambled, but yeah, CS Packer in that Jag in the beautiful Milo livery, leading the field around, followed by Hammy to the Bone in that Mercedes, which is an absolute joy to drive, that Mercedes. I loved that in my previous seasons.
Yeah, well, then we've got Fang from 13R in that. I love the livery on their cars.
Golf inspired.
That Golf inspired, yep. And then Palmer from V Corsa.
Best colour king.
What is
scheme of the season here, if you ask me.
Well, I can't change my view, so I can't see what car it is. Is that a Porsche?
It is the expensive Beetle. Yeah, the Porsche there.
Just exit out, mate, and then go back to spectate. You should be right, Devil.
Yep.
Just following Palmer around is his V Corsa teammate, Gordok 69 in the Jag. closely followed by Dark Berserk in the Mercedes, which again, love to see the Mercedes on track. They're one of my favourite looking cars in the game.
Yeah, so Darth Berserk's in the 2011 Mercedes because the team Flat Out Racing had picked the 2016, so it did leave his available. So he's in the older Mercedes. We've then got Mr. Navoli on track in
the Mighty Alpha.
The Mighty Alpha, yeah. Nice livery too, by the way, Mr. Navoli. Then Renegade from DAM Racing.
Yep, the livery designer for DAM Racing, as you see under the rear wing of all of their cars, it says designed by Renegade, closely followed by Oz Tormentor, I believe another Flat Out Racing driver in that beautiful Mercedes, and that has a little bit less chrome than Pure Axle, thankfully, followed by Oz Soul Reaper in the Hyundai from 13R as well.
Yep, and then final one in the train is LP Almonds, a privateer. So almond farmer is LP Almonds.
Yeah, getting it done in the Lexus. So another nice car to drive if you ask most people. I would not agree with that one. I've never been able to get along with it, but yeah, definitely a strong car if you know how to use it.
Yeah, and it's one of those cars. It's so easy to drive. It's almost boring. You can fall asleep driving this thing. It's so easy to get around the course. But yeah, I'm like you. I struggle to get the pace out of it.
Yeah, I'm not huge on the Lexus personally, as we see everyone coming around to start their flying lap. With this track being so long and so large, you don't get a second shot. If you mess up your flying lap now, it's over. You can't quit back to the pits or anything along those lines. So any mistakes here can be crucial, can send you way down the grid. So you really want to get a cracking lap out of yourself here.
Hey guys, just a question. Is anyone qualifying on mediums? It's another strategy choice we didn't talk about.
Yeah, just the one driver, Mr. Navoli.
Interesting.
So, might be interesting to see how it goes with Soul Reaper coming up behind him here down in 9th place. See if Soul Reaper gets up the inside and isn't hindered too much by that medium tyre runner.
It's certainly one of those tracks where I think in the lower divisions where you have a higher likelihood of drivers making an error on their hot lap, that it could pay dividends, because if you go out and just bank a lap on the mediums, you're going to still post a faster time than anyone that makes a mistake on their softs.
Yep.
Certainly in Div 1 you wouldn't go out banking on someone making a mistake, but certainly in the lower splits it's something that could work for you.
Yeah, and it looks like CS Packer's putting in a fairly decent lap here. He's pulled a bunch of time on Hammy, from what I can tell. I had a quick look at the gap between him and the start of the lap, and he's streaming away from him, really, in that beautiful Milo livery in that Jag. I believe CS Packer might be a new recruit to the Sunday Casuals as well. I think that might have just happened this recent week.
Well, Hammy is leading a train that goes back to our 6th driver, Darth Berserk, at the moment. He's at the tail end of that train. Then there's a fair gap back to Oz Tormentor, who's leading another train. So there's a few people that will be able to make use of the slipstream down this back straight at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully not hindered too much throughout the corner sections of the track, but just looking from the gaps that I was keeping an eye on towards the start of the laps, Palmer is on a bit of a fly here. He had Gordock within slipstream range at the start of the lap, and he is flying along with some slipstream assistance from Fang here.
Yep, he's in 4th on the track.
Yep. So if he can get a bit of a tow along from Fang for this last sector now, and Fang the same with Hammy, that Porsche could be on towards the front row of the grid. So maybe we'll
Soul Reaper in 9th on the track. He would have got a nice tow from Renegade in front of him down that back straight as well.
Yeah, definitely something needed in that Hyundai. So after seeing how Captain went, I think a bit of slipstream's not too bad for the Hyundai. We'll jump up with CS Packer currently leading everyone around. He's going to be the first one to set a time. 26.9 as he comes across the line. Here comes Hammy. 28.4, 27.8. Palmer goes first with a 26.3. Gordok with a 27.9, Berserk with a 28 flat, waiting for the next pack of cars to come along. Tormentor with a 29.7, Renegade 29.1, Soul Reaper 29.6. So some guys pretty close together there. Navoli coming through with a 34.1 on their medium tyres, and LP Almonds is our last driver to complete qualifying here. A 33.7, so just squeaking out ahead of Navoli, but that Porsche sitting on the front row.
Wow, that was a fast time.
That was an absolute cracker from Palmer there.
Yeah, he got the perfect slip, didn't he? He got the perfect toe.
Had a lot of slipstream assistance down that back straight from a Jag as well, so definitely no slouch in a straight line that was towing him along.
So CS Packer with a 326 also, and completely unassisted.
Yeah, and that Jag, very, very strong car. The lights
Palmer
are coming up with 5 red lights. And we're green. Looks like everyone's gotten off the line cleanly, no false starts throughout the field. As we all shuffle for position as we come into turn 1.
Palmer gets that Porsche off the line and leads them into turn 1. Comfortably with the gap already into turn 2. So Fang's made a move, and CS Packer's dropped down to 4th after the first couple of corners. So Darth Berserk, the little dark horse I mentioned at the start of the race, making his move already. Well done.
Yeah, got that Mercedes off the line very nicely. And they are now side by side coming into the very, very sharp corner here. Probably one of the slowest corners on the track. But they've navigated it well. CS Packer's got a very nice run out of it, and he's going to take that spot off of Darth Berserk. Gets a little bit of a hit mid-corner for good measure too, as we see the line of cars come through this very sweeping section.
And he would be better off to just tuck in under CS Packer now and follow him around, as the rest of the cars all make a train behind him.
Definitely, it's a very small chance, a very small window that he's got to make that happen now as well, because if he can break away of CS Packer, they can leave that big train of cars behind who are all going to be fighting each other.
In the lead, Palmer, 86, has broken that slipstream on Fang, so the gap is out to a second.
Little Beetle absolutely going for it, hammer and tong through this twisty section. We'll see if the Jag can reel him back in towards this halfway point of the lap across the bridge and along the massive back straight where it really shines. Back in 5th place, it looks like Mr. Navoli's lagged out unfortunately, but Hammy looks like he's going for a move around the outside of Renegade. Well, late on the brakes, sweeps across the nose and takes the spot beautifully, and there's side-by-side behind as well in 7th and 8th.
Oh, this is not a corner you want to be side-by-side on.
They've all slotted in. Tormentor taking some wall with him for good measure, and here comes Soul Reaper in the Genesis passing a Merc and a Jag, something I did not think I would see on the straights. And he's struggling to get by, even though Tormentor took some wall with him. The Merc pulling back out and looking to get back past as well. Big overspeed from the Jag in the background too, from Gordok. Things
and
better
LP Armin's in 10th is way back. He's 20 seconds off the pace of these guys, so he's obviously had an issue on the opening lap.
Yeah, not quite sure what has happened there. But if we jump up to 3rd place, we've got CS Packer and Fang. The 2 guys in the Jag from opposite teams working together at the moment from what I can see, trying to get that gap to Palmer back down. But it's going to be a hard thing to do through this section of the track.
Yeah, it is. And look, every driver at the moment, even though Mr. Navoli qualified on mediums, he seems to have disappeared.
Tormentor has just had a big off there, and I don't know if you can get a replay of that one. But he's got some big damage and some time in the fence, unfortunately for him.
In what position was he?
He's now in 10th place, dead last. I believe he was in 9th before that, but definitely struggling is Oz Tormentor.
Sorry guys, just missed that one.
That's alrighty. We'll jump up into 4th place as Hammy takes the spot off the Dark Berserk. These two going side by side through turn 2 beforehand, and now tucking right back in. Kenny come back at him into the 3rd corner. He lifts off the throttle and says, "No, you have that spot. Try and tow me along, big fella."
Yeah, the two Mercedes fairly evenly matched down the straight there, but the towers obviously helped Hammy get through. So Renegade from Dam Racing just falling out of the slip behind Darth Berserk at the moment. He needs to get back onto him by the next straight. And then Gordo, who is within his slip in that B Corsa livery.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game for Renegade right now. If he can stay with those two Mercedes up ahead, he'll be in a fairly decent spot, but looks like Gordok has been able to close in on him as well. And if Gordok can do it, I feel like Soul Reaper might be in the running for that as well.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be defending at the moment. He needs to make up that gap. He's just on the edge of being in their slip. The last thing he needs right now is Gordo or Soul Reaper trying to stick it up the inside.
Yeah, it looks like back up in that battle for 2nd and 3rd, it looks like these two have been working together from what I can see, giving us each other a little bit of a bump, trying to make that gap back up to Palmer, who's gotten a great start out to 1.6 second lead in that Porsche.
Yeah, he's flying.
So definitely something that we pointed out earlier on of guys working together. So we've got Hammy and Darth in the Mercedes working together. We've got Fang and CS Packer also working with each other to try and close that gap. But it looks like the Mercedes guys are going to be caught by this pack of cars behind them, as Renegade's now within slipstream distance, back in 6th.
Yeah, he still might struggle to catch these guys because Darth Berserk is in the slip of Hammy in front.
Yeah, and as you say that, they have pulled about 2/10 on him on that straight with a bit of bump draft assistance. So these two working together really well, trying to close that gap to the guys up ahead, and build a bit of a gap to everyone behind.
And it can give you such an advantage when you get someone on the track who'll work with you like this, because not only are you going quicker, but you're saving fuel as well, particularly if you're the guy in the rear.
Yeah, especially if you're very similar pace, maybe even just slower. So you might lose a bit of time through the corners and then make it up on the straight, and it really tows you along. And then if the guy in front of you isn't worried about you sticking your nose up the inside of a corner, they can take their racing line confidently and just hit their markers and move on.
Yeah, so up front, Palmer is getting no assistance of any kind and is out to a 1.9 second lead now.
28.9 that last lap around.
Yep, and look, Fang and CS Packer definitely working together. CS Packer's giving him the nudge the whole way around, so I imagine they'll work that gap down as we move.
Darth Berserk's into the wall, down in 6th place now. Don't know what's happened to that one. We'll quickly have a look at that one, yeah.
Let's have a look at him now. Into the first turn, yeah, he got the braking wrong. He was right behind the silver car and just went into the fence. I hope he hasn't got damage.
No damage, but definitely some time lost and a position to Renegade, so that's unfortunate for Berserk. We were just praising him for how well he was working together with Hammy, and he's lost out a fair bit there, and is now possibly in the clutches of Soul Reaper in that Genesis.
Yeah, he's probably not going to get the draft advantage from the Genesis that he was getting from Hammy in the other Mercedes. But maybe they can work together and salvage a good result for themselves.
Yeah, and we'll really see the pace of Berserk here if he can close that gap to Renegade, and maybe even work with the Jag. That could be a huge thing with the absolute rocket ship that it is on a straight line.
Is that older Mercedes a bit quicker, is it?
Not quite sure how it goes, to be honest, but it looks like he's handling it fairly well.
It's very similar to Drive to the 2016 with the balance of performance on. So there's not a huge amount of difference between the two.
Looks like he's taken a little bit of time out of Renegade, but he's really going to have to pull in a couple of tenths here to have a chance of getting in that slipstream. Renegade's still struggling to get back into the slip of Hammy as well.
Yeah. Berserk's just taken a bit of Armco there after the bridge, but how close do you have to be to get slipped, do you reckon?
That slipstream range is right at the 3/4 of a second mark, so 0.75 of a second behind someone's really when you start getting in the slipstream.
And guys, in second place, Fang was very close to breaking that toe at the start of the straight. It was out to 0.6.
Coming into that braking zone, CS Packer was 13 kilometres an hour faster.
Oh, it's so strong, isn't it? The draft is so
massive.
strong.
So Fang was getting about 272, and CS Packer was at about 285.
Wow!
So absolutely trucking along in that Jag there, but still not able to close that gap to Palmer, who's grown it to 3 seconds now out in the lead.
He's just gapping them. That's what a great drive.
He's driving phenomenally here. It's a similar thing to what we saw from Dale in the top split race, but he was assisted by Adam V on that breakaway, where Palmer is just doing it on his own in that Porsche as well.
Yeah.
And he's used less fuel than the other drivers as well, so he's not pushing the car, and his tyres are a lot better than the guys following him. So
yeah,
he's clearly not stressing the car out with this pace.
Absolutely. We've got a bit of a battle going on in 6th place now. Renegade looking up the inside of Dark Berserk. Soul Reaper just behind as well, might look up the inside of Renegade into turn 2. Oh, Dark Berserk's gone deep, and Renegade's going to take that spot. Will he come under fire from Soul Reaper here? I don't think that Genesis is going to have enough legs to get past the Mercedes with a bit of slipstream assistance there. And there he goes, just pulling back on ahead. So Renegade holding onto that 5th spot, as we saw last lap around. Looks like Dark Berserk's not accounting for the slipstream too much and going in a little deep to a couple of braking zones.
Yeah, he's made that mistake twice in a row now.
Yeah, definitely something you hope he learns coming next time around. But that time he did have to take turn 1 fairly wide as Renegade stuck his nose up the inside. So maybe just putting him offline a little bit and yeah, mistake being made. Oh, speaking of mistakes being made, Fang up in 3rd now. Dropping a tyre on the dirt and going deep. CS Packer takes a spot off him, but also goes deep into the next corner. So these guys are working together so well.
Yeah, this has brought Hammy to the bone, right into the mix here now in the battle for 2nd as well. He's been slowly edging away from Renegade and that other battle pack we were just watching to getting closer to these guys. That little mistake has put him right on their tail.
Yeah, the tyres are wearing, so they're becoming a little bit different to drive, aren't they, as the tyres wear?
Yeah, CS Packer actually with the worst tyres, I think, between these 3 cars. Fang with the best, so...
Fang's always good on tyres.
Oh, Hammy late on the brakes in the background there too, so really showing the braking power of that Mercedes.
And what really impressed me, I drove that Mercedes in my split. The brakes were set at 0 balance because the car is so beautifully balanced. It wore all the tyres evenly without having to adjust the brakes.
It is an amazingly balanced car. It even gives an MR car a run for the money in wet races, which is very highly dominated by them MR cars normally. So just showing the balance of that car, the weight spread is very similar to an MR, with the front being very, very light, with the engine being pushed so far back as well. The big long
And
nose on
just
it.
as we're saying that, Hammy up the inside of Fang, but can't get it done. Fang continues on.
Yeah,
So these
unfortunately,
guys-
he picked a bit of a rough spot there where he got up the inside, but it turned into the outside for the next corner, as is the trend with this section of track.
Yeah, these guys don't need to be battling at the moment. We're only on lap 4 of 17, so just continue the bump drafting and try and bring in that gap to Palmer,
Yeah,
which
the
is
only
now
thing,
out to 5 seconds.
the only thing for me here, if I'm Hammy and I feel I've got more pace than these guys ahead, I want to be leading them around rather than following, to try and get the most out of everyone, rather than be stuck behind them. But it looks like Fang's been able to close that gap to CS Packer nicely, and Hammy's had a rough end to the sector, dropping out of that slipstream.
Hammy might be gone here.
Oh, he needs a good exit from this corner to hold on to them.
And he has got
Looks like
one.
he's
He's got a
got it.
better exit than
Yep.
Fang. I'm expecting that time to stop ticking down as fast, with Fang being so deep in CS Packer's slipstream. There we see it start to grow again as the top end of the Jag comes to play. But better on brakes as that Merc, and that'll close that gap right back up again. You see under 4/10 now throughout this very sharp right-hander.
Oh, he's done well. See, Fang had to get out of it early because he was so close to Packer. So it does allow that car that's fallen behind a bit of a chance to dive in and rejoin.
Yeah, and so he showed the nose coming through this right-hander. Fang stayed out wide, left the apex open. So Hammy
He's gonna have a
definitely
go.
not
He's gonna
looking
have a
stick
go.
around.
Yeah,
Fang with a bit of slipstream assistance
No.
again from CS Packer there.
Discretion, the
putting
better
a
part
lot of
valor.
pressure on Fang. Putting a lot of pressure on at the moment, so
Yeah.
this will be slowing these two down.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Hammy, every time he does look for a move, Fang's got the slipstream of CS Packer.
Yep.
And good luck beating a Jag with some slipstream in a straight line to get past. He's probably going to have to get it done under braking if he can here. Definitely looks better through this downhill S section. Fang closing right up onto the back of CS Packer as well.
Yeah, so but they'll need to stay right on CS Packer's tail through this next bit, which is, it's quite hard to get perfect, this long sweeping right hand onto the straight.
Yeah, it's off camber.
And then try and, it's so hard to get it right, and then see what they can muster in the slipstream down here to get past him.
Yeah, this puts Fang in a bit of a tricky spot too, because if he goes for the bump on CS Packer, Hammy could get the overspeed and make the position, but if he goes to pass, Fang can pass with Hammy in tow as well. So
Do you reckon
it
any
looks
of
like
these
he's
three
gone
will
for the
pit?
bump. Here comes Hammy now that Fang's gone for that bump. I think with the amount of fuel these guys have got, I don't think we'll see a pit out of them. The tyres are looking pretty good too. Hammy still with his nose up the inside coming into this right-hander. Gives plenty of room to Fang. And we're seeing the same thing we saw last lap, where the inside turns to the outside for the next corner, so he's not able to make anything happen.
It's hard to tell, are they working
Yeah.
together or not, isn't it? Oh, he's gone wide.
Oh,
He's going to have
no.
dirty tyres now.
That's,
You better be careful.
very lucky to survive that one. That's exactly how
He's
we
running
saw
wide
Tombo,
now. He's got dirty
end his
tyres.
race. That's
Oh,
exactly
he's-
how we saw
yeah.
Tombo's race end there.
Yep.
In the top split, just dropped 2 tyres on the dirt and around he went. But
Yep.
that's cost him a long time. No more slipstream. Fang out on the grass up ahead though.
He might have a chance
but
of
yeah.
regaining. Yeah, one mistake. That's the frustrating thing about this track, isn't it? One mistake and you're out of the slip.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
so it definitely looks like CS Packer and Fang are wanting to work together, and Hammy is looking to make moves and get by them. So very
Well,
tricky
it's-
for him to be able to do so. Soul Reaper in the pits.
It's kill or be killed, isn't it? Unfortunately. So if they have the chance to lose one of the three, they probably will take it.
Yeah, most definitely.
Well,
So
I'd be
we
trying to, if I was one of these drivers, I'd be trying to mix up the strategy, knowing if you knew that the other two were going to go onto softs, I'd be looking to go onto mediums and just get some clear air.
Yeah, and on that mention, we do have our first car in the pits, being Oz Soul Reaper, jumping out onto those mediums now, topping the tanks. So pitted at the end of the lap 5. LP Armand's also coming in at the end of lap 5.
Interesting. So he'd be one to watch because he's got rid of his medium stint.
Yeah, definitely one to watch there towards the end. But that leaves the battle for 5th, being Renegade and Dark Berserk. I believe Dark Berserk is just happy to work with whoever he can get around at the moment. It didn't look like he was... he had too much intent on passing Renegade, but I don't think Renegade's picked up on that. He did go slightly defensive in the last corner, continuing to go defensive here, so unfortunately costing him time that he probably doesn't need to. Dark Berserk dropping 2 tyres onto the dirt though.
He hasn't got the memo, has he, Renegade?
He certainly has not, going defensive into every corner. Dark Berserk rolling out of the throttle mid-corner there to make sure Renegade stayed ahead as well, so... and again, that pack in 3rd, 2nd, and 4th as well. I don't know why I said it in that order, but those guys still all within slipstream range of each other, spreading out a little bit more though, but Hammy's been able to catch up again. So I definitely feel like Hammy is the faster driver of these 3 at the moment and is struggling because he can't get by them.
Yeah, Palmer's cleared away. He's 6.5 seconds out in front, so all the action at the moment is for 2nd, and I think you're right. Hammy does appear to have a bit more pace because he's able to, whenever they do break that toe, he's able to bring it back in. And this might be his opportunity here because, Fang is
what's he going to
on
do?
The edge of the slipstream, but no, he can't do it. So there'll be a braking
Jag
coming in.
Oh, Fang was going very deep in there. Good job to pull that one up. He lifted off the brakes mid-corner there and came up on the rear bumper of CS Packer very quickly.
I'm tipping Hammy to the bone to come out of the pits ahead of Fang, simply for the fact that he's used a lot less fuel, so he might not even have to do the job on the track here.
Yeah, maybe, Hammy might even decide to jump onto the mediums here. We don't know what we're going to see out of these guys in terms of strategy.
We'll see some pit stops now, won't we, guys?
Absolutely. We'll see Palmer jumping into the pits right now from the lead, 7.4 seconds clear of the other guys. So absolutely amazing first stint there from Palmer on them soft tyres. Absolutely ripping the V-Corsa Porsche.
In they go.
So Palmer with the most fuel out of our top 4 pitters, even though he's been driving around by himself the whole time. That's incredible.
Yep.
Yeah. He's in the
So
he's
everyone
in the
else everyone else will be pitting this lap, so the field will flush itself.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to keep an eye on Soul Reaper, who pitted last lap, and has done this whole lap on the fresh mediums with a full tank, and see if he's been able to jump. I believe he was battling with Renegade and Dark Berserk. Seeing the mediums come out at the front of the field too, so...
And Hammy to the bone has jumped Fang. Hammy to the bone has jumped Fang in the pits.
Ooh, just.
CS Packer is out of slipstream range. Are they on the same tyre? They are, so everyone deciding to go to the mediums for the middle stint here. The only person that was on the softs is Oz Tormentor, who has just ducked into the pits now. So if Hammy can hold off Fang on this straight, which it looks like he's been able to, he can use the technical section coming up to try and make up the time to CS Packer. And if he can clear off CS Packer, I think he might be able to contend with Palmer.
Yeah, he was definitely quicker than Fang in that last stint, so now that he's in front, he should be able to pull away and break that slip to Fang.
And he's done it too. He's already got that 8/10 gap now as well.
Yep.
It's closing the gap to
bring
CS
it.
Packer too.
Yeah, if he can bring the gap in before that large back straight, then he'll be looking to chase down Palmer.
So the winners out of that pit stop were Hammy and Palmer, weren't they?
Definitely. Well, yeah, Palmer's doing really well at the moment, just out in the lead now with an 8-second gap. So he maybe had to fuel less than the guys behind, so he's pulled a bit more time.
Yep.
but CS Packer cleared out from Fang a little bit, and Hammy is definitely one of the big winners now, within 6 tenths, and deep in that slipstream if he can nail this right-hander here. Oh, he's not quite nailed it. He's lost a few tenths there.
Yeah, not quite.
That's right.
Which one do you reckon's quicker, the Jag or the Merc?
The Jag's certainly quicker. But,
Yeah, right.
I think the Merc in the hands of Hammy at the moment is getting better lap times out of it. So,
if you can get this exit right of this right-hander,
Yep.
you can. That's the critical thing, isn't it?
a couple of stabs at the throttle there from Hammy.
It can make a big difference to your speed at the end of the straight by nailing
Look
that
at that
exit.
time tick down. So it was a 1 second gap. He's pulled in 2 tenths, but the top end of the Jag's going to kick in now and bring that back out.
And it,
Yeah,
just
there you
as
go.
you say that,
So still with gaining about a tenth there on the straight and about another one under braking by the looks of it. Doing really well is Hammy, but that straight almost let Fang back in his slipstream as well. So very dangerous game to be playing right now.
He's driving that car
Fang-
really well.
Definitely is. Oh, as we
Yeah.
say
Oh
that.
no!
he's-
Commentator's
he's-
curse!
he's done.
Oh, Hammy, I'm so sorry, bro.
Ando with the commentator's curse coming out there, just dipping too many tyres on the grass after all that work of sticking with him and getting by Fang.
I was on board with him too. I was on board
He's
with him.
back to square one, and now could come under fire from Darth Berserk, who is just 6 tenths behind him and has been able to get past Renegade.
He's lucky he didn't get a penalty either. I was getting penalties there this week when I was out
I can't
there.
believe he didn't get damage. That was a pretty hefty hit. I think if we had heavy damage on, he would have had some, but luckily for him, the medium
He's
damage
got
is
a
a
friend.
little more forgiving.
He's got a
Berserk
friend from
again.
Stuttgart.
yeah, look, that was unfortunate for Hammy. That's cost him about 4 seconds, but with Darth Berserk hopefully giving him a little bit of a shunt as we move along, he can make that time up.
Yes,
Well, we did see these two working together earlier on in the race before Darth Berserk made that mistake. So, I mean, he's definitely looking for a buddy to drive around with at the moment. Is Darth. Hammy hanging it out wide here too, so maybe going in a little deep there.
Well, the two guys in front of them, CS Packer in second and Fang in third, they aren't within slipstream range of each other or anyone else. So those guys are driving around unassisted at the moment. If Darth Berserk can stay on the tail of Hammy, these guys could pull him in fairly quickly.
This could get interesting, yeah.
This is a big moment for CS Packer as well. So if he can, now that he doesn't have Fang in the slipstream, if he can pull a gap, he can break away like Palmer has, and give himself a little bit of a cushion to work with. Oh,
Yeah, well, eight and a half seconds up the road to Palmer. You never know.
back in fifth. Darth Berserk has sent it up the inside. Hammy's gone deep, and Hammy's coming back at him around the outside. Just like the Trailer Park Girls, as Eminem says.
Round the outside.
That was a beautiful move there by Hammy. Sold him the dummy.
Oh,
let him send it deep on the apex of the corner. Oh, he's going to come
Renegade's
under fire
got
from
the
Renegade.
run. What
Absolutely.
a beautiful run.
So Berserk tried to stick it up the inside of Hammy there. We need the Viagra livery for him, apparently. But not working out, and now Renegade able to get the move done and take that spot off of him, getting very loose on the corner exit.
So Hammy, the big winner out of that, but
Spicing up.
These guys, yeah. So you really need to be buying a ticket to the last 6 laps. So I don't know if sticking it up the inside on the entry to that corner is the smart move on lap 8 just yet, but
Yeah, it's like a 50-over cricket match, isn't it? You're in the middle overs. You don't want to be doing anything risky, do you?
Yeah, you just want to get yourself settled, get some runs on the board, keep a steady pace, and then
Get
wait
your
to the
6
end
ons
to
and
swing
over,
away.
yeah. Then go for
Renegade looking up the inside of Hammy though. Hammy going deep on the brakes to make sure he holds that spot. Holding it around the outside again, so and that's bringing Darth Berserker right onto the rear bumper of Renegade as well.
Oh, well, they're keeping us entertained.
Berserk is also underfueled a fair bit for his medium stint compared to the other guys, with probably, God, I'd say about 15% less fuel on board. So,
wow,
he's probably banking on just doing 5 laps on his mediums, whereas the other guys have filled up.
Yeah, surely. Yeah, exactly. So he's going to have to do 6 at the end.
Yeah, only doing the underfueling and wanting to do the 5 on the mediums could be why he seems so urgent to get past these guys. Thinking he's on a bit of a lower fuel, he's doing less time on the tyre, he's got the lighter car, maybe wanting to get something done with it, but unfortunately for him, unable to do so.
Yeah, his strategy's it's basically being ruined by these two, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Renegade very deep under brakes. Very wide at the apex. Darth Berserk not being able to get a good enough run to capitalise on it, but Renegade without any slipstream from Hammy up ahead. But the pace of the Jag ultimately beats out the Mercedes there. Coming back at him here though.
Oh, sticks it up the inside. It's all braking now.
Look out.
It's still going on.
Good driving.
Good driving. He's got a taily.
Gets a little loose
so
on
well done,
corners,
Renegade.
and Renegade secures that spot again. Definitely showing that Jack Daniels influences you to stick it up the inside.
And Hammy hasn't really gapped away from these guys as they battle on. He hasn't made a huge gap between the two, but further up ahead, Fang and CS Packer still only 1 second apart, so Fang just on the edge of that slipstream to CS Packer.
Yeah, so Fang's pulled in about 1.2 seconds since the back straight. I had a quick check up on him when they were going through there, so he's made up a good second on CS Packer in the first half of this lap.
But Palmer nearly out to 10 seconds now. It's the Palmer show here tonight.
Absolutely, and it's a beautiful
bad
show
we've
to
hardly
be looking
been
at
on
that V-Corsa Porsche. I mean, again, I've said it many times, but I think the V-Corsa colour scheme might be the best of the league at the moment. That's
right.
that very Miami 80s feeling from it.
It's almost as good as the NASCAR liveries from Shake and Bake.
Sure, we'll agree to disagree on that one. But
you almost expect their driving suits to have big shoulder pads.
Oh, they do. If I could send you a selfie right now, mate.
But we see, it looks like that battle for fourth is starting to spread out a little bit. Renegade just within the whispers of the slipstream of Hammy. It was out to 0.745, so just on the edges of it, and he's been able to reel in almost 3/10 now, the massive overspeed coming from that Jag. Going again about 12, 13.
He's pulled out too early.
Yeah. 270-80 he hit it before he braked in that Jag then.
Oh, he's gotten loose on corner exit 2. Lucky to save that one. Playing a dangerous game there, Renegade, getting on that power too heavy in the Jag. On the medium tyres too, can be very slippery coming off the soft tyres onto your mediums. Looks like it's helped Darth Berserk get right up under his rear wing again as well. And I feel like Hammy might be closing the gap to Fang.
He is. It's down to 2.5 seconds now. It was out to 4 early on.
Fang has he's dropped about half a second to CS Packer again as well, so maybe making a small mistake there, possibly running a little wide in a couple of corners. It can be something so small that can cost you that time.
Yeah, but behind them, this battle is heating up. Hammy to the bone has got Renegade in the slip behind him, just bringing that Jag an inch.
Oh,
cops a punt from Darth Berserk.
Darth redressing though, making sure he doesn't take the spot that way. It's a little bit of good sportsmanship there, but that's cost him a fair bit of momentum and given Hammy some breathing room. 2.2 seconds worth to be exact.
Yeah. That's where you've really got to allow for that extra speed under braking coming into those corners, because he was slipstreaming off Renegade the whole way up that track, that straight. So he would have been carrying an extra 5 to 10 kilometres of speed into that corner.
Well, that's almost
That
the third
wall-
or fourth time we've seen him run deep into turn 1.
Yeah, that wall is becoming
Yeah.
his friend tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got to
I
maybe
was
adjust
saying
his
earlier
marker.
I was saying earlier on, I wish we could customise some of the guardrails on this track and put a couple of paint splotches of whatever cars we see hitting it.
Well, I think
that
Darth Berserk already
barricade was
has.
visited by DJ Stefko a couple times, but Darth Berserk trying to take his crown.
He's put his own stamp on it.
Absolutely. Oh, he's
Literally.
got a good run through that corner, but ran a tiny bit wide. But he's definitely within range of making a move on Renegade here.
He's
Oh,
very
he's pushed
pacey,
the-
isn't he? He's very pacey at the moment.
Yeah, I think that might be the less fuel on board that we were talking about earlier on.
Well,
Really
there's not a
just
lot.
giving him a bit more pace overall compared to these guys.
Renegade's run deep. He's a
Here he
sitting duck now.
comes. Gone defensive nice and early. And Berserk's gone for the
Decides
bump.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that's a smarter move. If he wants to overtake him, do it on the next straight.
Yeah, and maybe because he gave him a little bit of a shunt earlier on in the lap, feeling like, I'll try push you along and we can try and make up for that time lost or something
Yeah.
along those lines.
Yeah, probably.
I know I don't really look to make a move on a guy after I've just given him a little bump and sent him wide.
Yeah, that's
Usually
pretty,
try and help
that's
him out
pretty
for a
nice
little bit.
driving, actually, yeah.
So it might have been a let's be friends nudge.
There it is with the bump draft. A little bit of shake and bake action going on here as we see him just pushing him along the straight.
But he's going to have a go, I think.
He's going to try.
No.
Well, they made up about.
Oh,
Gives him a bump in the braking zone, not ideal.
Oh,
Oh, I don't know if
Renegade
that. Oh, I
getting
don't know about that
loose
one.
under acceleration again too. Oh, and he cuts his nose off into the left-hander. Renegade
He's
lifting
got
off the
it
throttle,
done.
being like, all right,
Yes.
mate, go on, get a run on. If you're going to be this aggressive,
Okay.
keep on cruising by. Oh, Renegade looking to stick the nose up the inside into the left-hander though. So giving him a bit back now. And this is just giving Hammy a little bit more breathing room to work with as well. So
yeah, look, down that back straight, they made up about 3 or 4 tenths on Hammy. And then
Yeah.
since that back straight, they've lost 9 tenths on
Yeah.
Hammy.
Oh, they did so well to get it. Why can't we all be friends? Come on.
I definitely think there might be a little bit of red mist going around. I know if I was Renegade and I got bumped like that and passed, I'm pretty eager to try and get back past. And you're not really thinking your most clear thoughts, I guess we could
Well,
say, when
yeah.
it comes to that.
Well, that's it. Darth Berserk, I think he's fairly new, is he? Because he gained that position because of the bump. So that might be one for the stewards, if you ask me.
Yeah, if Renegade's not feeling too happy about that, we could see that one show up in the stewards report. So, up ahead in third place, Fang has almost rejoined CS Packer. The gap was down to 9 tenths of a second as they came through the sweeping right-hander there. So, very, very close to getting back in that slipstream range, but no chance of catching Palmer still, unless a big mistake happens. He's out to 11 seconds.
I'd be interested to know how their tyres are, though, because Fang is very good on tyres, so he might be reaping those rewards right now.
Well, not surprisingly, Palmer's are the best by a country mile. So the stint that he had early on in the softs, where he looked after his tyres and had the pace, he's continuing that on the mediums because he's significantly better than anyone else out there at the moment and getting the pace.
Wow.
Absolutely. And Fang does have the better tyres between himself and CS Packer. Very slightly, I would say, but still enough to make a difference.
Yeah, it'll be a good battle for second, I think, in the last stint.
Yep, these boys both jumping back on softs. We saw the very even pace of them throughout the first stint on the softs. So I'll also be interested to see, because we saw CS Packer come out the pits and put about 2 seconds on Fang last time. So I wonder if that's going to happen again.
Well, he's got more fuel than Fang on this stint as well, so I imagine he'll put a bit of a gap on Fang once they come through for their second pit stop.
I'd love to see Hammy rejoin this party, though. He deserves you know, he was unlucky there. If he can get back up and challenge for a podium, that'll be, you know, exciting stuff.
Yeah, he's taken about half a second off of Fang since probably the last corner I think I checked in. So about the start of this lap, he's taken about half a second off of Fang. Slowly reeling him in, but at that rate he'll be right on him towards the end of the race, and it could be a very interesting battle, even for second, if they all start to bunch up.
Yeah, well, Hammy has more fuel than Fang too, so he should be able to catch up on. The next pit stop, I'm imagining, is going to be at the end of the next lap. For most of these guys, they all pitted at the same time last time, so Hammy could be right on the tail of Fang here after the pit stop, just through taking on less fuel.
So they're all going to do 5 laps stints to finish.
One of the few guys we might see come in this lap will be Darth Berserk. He has about 10% fuel remaining, so it's going to be tough for him to get around, but we've talked about how he was carrying a fair bit less fuel than Fang and CS Packer when he was, than Renegade and Hammy.
He has to come in.
There we go, as the fuel gauge starts flashing, that's 10% left. So, in off their mediums, 6 laps on the softs. And Hammy has lost a bit of time to Fang at some point. That gap back out to 3 seconds now. And Fang is 6/10 behind CS Packer, but takes the wall and gets loose out of turn 2, and away that slipstream goes.
Oh, bugger.
So frustrating there it would be. He was 6/10 back and just a little slip up, a little early on the power, trying to make the best of it. Back out to a second, unfortunately, there for Fang.
So are all these front runners going to do 5 laps on the softs, are they?
Yep.
Yeah, they will be. Yep.
Yeah, right, okay. So Berserk was a little bit artificially elevated there because he's now got to do 6.
Yeah, but he could get an undercut on. He could get a good undercut on this lap as well. So he'll be doing his out lap on softs, whereas these guys are doing the same lap on worn mediums. So
okay, that'll be interesting then. And then if he can, he'll be fuel saving though. So can he defend that track position?
I think the gap between Berserk and Hammy was 2.8 seconds, and the gap back to Renegade from Berserk was about 1.2. So definitely some numbers to keep in mind when we see these guys come around at the end of this lap to jump into the pits.
Yeah, he might just throw himself back in the mix. You never know.
yeah, well, at the moment I'm seeing in third Fang very low on fuel. He's going to be spending the most time out of these 3. CS Packer in second, Fang in third, and Hammy in fourth. He'll be spending the most time in the pits. So I imagine he's going to lose a bit of time to CS Packer, but it won't be enough time for Hammy to jump him in the pits, but he'll certainly be on him, I would imagine, as they come out of the pits, and hopefully within slipstream.
Yes, he'll have a Mercedes for company, I think, on his outlap.
Yeah, well, it looks like Hammy's pushed a little bit this lap because that difference isn't as much as it used to be. Both now under the 10% mark by a fair way. I think it's only going to be about a half a second gain from Hammy, but a big part of gaining for this last stop here is knowing how much you need for that final stint. If you're going to go all out and you need to top the tank, or if you're going to keep the same pace you've been going and you're going to fuel save, you can fill up to 80% or something around there and have a lighter car and less time.
I know in the Merc you can go without any fuel saving, 5 laps flat out on 90%.
Okay. Yeah, I was playing around in the Ford GT and found out that full fuel going flat out, you run out of
4
fuel.
laps.
At the end of the 5th lap for the last minute, I had to start fuel saving, and I crossed the line with 0% remaining. So that thing absolutely drinks it. But we have Palmer barely ticking over to that 10% mark, and he's going to have a short fuel for his 5-lap sprint to the end on them softs.
He's
14-second gap now.
Yep, and they all file in. CS Packer's in.
Fang on 1.
Hammy's in. Renegade is coming around. He'll have to go in as well.
So yeah, that fuel difference not as big as we thought towards the start of that lap. Just 2 litres between Hammy and Fang, and 2 litres between Hammy and CS Packer. Palmer coming out with 96% on board, so looking to absolutely go at it, using all the revs, every bit that Porsche has to offer.
He's going to kill this. I don't know. He might get a really good time here. He might challenge some of the Div 3 times.
Here we have CS Packer, Fang, and Hammy all emerging from the pits here.
Darth Berserk is down on the that straight as well. Oh, he's too far back.
So looks like he gained about a second with that undercut. Oh,
and he's gone deep again. Oh, dear, oh dear.
Well, there goes that second that he gained, unfortunately for him. But yeah, learning from your mistakes is definitely a huge part of sim racing.
That braking marker.
He's not done so.
Oh, all that good work. Poor bugger.
And Palmer has grown that gap to almost 16 seconds now out in the lead. Hammy with the gap to Fang now just 1.6 as well. So,
yeah, so he's knocked a second off that gap during that pit stop. So not far. Not far.
The last time I said that, we saw Berserk hit the wall. So.
And look, Hammy's worked his way back into this race after having an off early on. So he's only got a couple of tenths now, and he'll be in the slip of Fang and be vying for a podium position.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I sort of feel like I'm rooting for Hammy because I think it was my fault that he went off.
He definitely.
I really do.
It was very coincidentally after you said he was doing well that he decided to chuck it in.
Oh my god, he's gonna hate me.
He has driven really well, and now that gap to Fang is under a second. But while we're just keeping an eye on this gap closing, maybe I'll take a second to thank our sponsors as we start the final stint of the race. Just a big thank you to everyone that's stayed on board with us for this season. Next Level Racing, Pagnian Imports, Racers, and future Melbourne Born Streetwear. A big thank you to those guys for staying on board with us and continuing to support the league.
Yes, we appreciate it.
Very much so.
Yeah, well said, Dragon. And while we've been saying that, our Berserk Bend driver in 5th place, I said at the start of the race that he would be a bit of a dark horse, and although the front end of his car is looking a bit ordinary at the moment, he'd be stoked with a 5th place in this race. So if he can hold off Renegade, who has that 1 lap fresher tyres, I think he'll be stoked with that.
Imagine just what could have happened if he had a braked for turn 1 at the 150 metre mark.
I know, right?
We put a bit of focus on that gap to Hammy as he was coming along that start-finish straight, but he pulled about 3 seconds on Renegade on that outlap for himself on the soft tyres, so definitely gave himself a bit more breathing room. And possibly he's trying to lighten up the car by losing a body panel or some paint or something to grab that turn 2
But Hammy in 4th is still just on the fringe of getting some slipstream off Fang. On fresh soft tyres now, this thing has been pacey all night. He's been able to, whenever he lost that gap, he's been able to bring it back on Fang all night. So
as you say that, half a second goes falling away.
Yeah, that last corner is
talking
critical.
About Hammy altogether.
Yeah, maybe.
It really is.
You got to get that last corner right, don't you?
It's a very tricky one too, because there's not a lot of things to use as markers like you would normally see. See, coming into the turn 2 marker there, you've got the braking boards hanging over the track. Coming into turn 3, you've got the braking boards. It's very tricky in that last corner.
And there's a little dip just before the apex that runs you wide every time. Because it unloads the tyres and you lose all your grip.
With that said, Hammy's just gone purple through Sector 1 here. And he didn't even have to slam into the wall to do so.
Come on, Hammy. No wall riding allowed.
But it's the Mercedes way.
I mean, Berserk might be a bit of a Bottas fan and thinks we're at Hungary, just trying to go absolutely bowling into that corner every time. First braking zone of the lap.
Maybe. He's trying to get a contract with Mercedes again. Do you think?
Yeah, trying to get that renewal. So we've definitely got a lot of pace from our top 4 drivers at the moment. I've just been keeping an eye on them as they've come through the timing boards. Palmer 6/10 purple on that 28.9. Hammy also purple coming through the same timing marker. So these guys are getting a really nice lap in at the moment.
And Palmer in the lead. He's out to 18 seconds now. And 1 second, he's just ticked over on that timing marker as 1 second up on his fastest lap.
That
Putting
is,
on a clinic.
Really is. He's given himself a shout to be up in lobby 3 with yourself there, Devil.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at Hammy to the bone. Something's happened there. He's dropped a bit of time to Fang now in 4th. So he's lost a second and no chance of slipstream down the back straight now.
Yeah, it definitely could be overdriving the car maybe to try and make up that time. It's very easy to do. If you see like a 10th or 2 come off, you're like, all right, I can get in there now, and you push that little extra. You scrub the front tyres, you run a little wide, and that time just goes falling away. But with that said, Hammy almost 8/10 up on his fastest lap of the race so far.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those tracks where slow and steady wins the race here. If you're pushing harder, you seem to go slower. So.
Yeah, and those tyres are definitely a finite resource. You know, you don't want to use them all up at the start of the stint because it'll really hurt you at the end. If you're stuck with worn tyres, not ideal.
Yeah, and I want to jump on board with Palmer here in the lead as he comes through the final corner, because he was 8/10 up through the last timing sector to see if he can absolutely blow this purple lap out of the water that he set on, I believe, lap 2. So he's had a bit of a rough run through the second last corner, but had a cracker through the last one and improves
he nearly did a 27. Nearly did a 27.
28-0 out of Palmer there. That's a cracker of a lap time.
He's flying.
And
he's Neville Bartos.
Good luck to the other boys trying to get that purple lap now. That is a hell of a time.
Yeah, he's put on a clinic tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, and I'm just amazed in the car he's in. I wouldn't have thought this Porsche would be so good around this track.
Yeah, there's no one else within a second of his pace at the moment.
No, all the other guys, CS Packer, Fang and Hammy, doing very low 29s last time around, with Hammy being the fastest of all of them. So Hammy has gone purple through the Sector 1 timing board though, so keep an eye
He's
on
got
him
that
as
gap
he's
back
pulled in
down.
a second. Oh, he's deep though.
Yeah. Ooh. But he has got that gap back down from Fang now. It was out to 2.5 seconds. So
now
still
down
could
to-
be in the run for a podium here.
He's
Hammy,
having a
because
go. He's having a
he is.
red hot go.
And it looks like CS Packer has managed to break away from Fang a little bit, so that's the pit stop, the little mistake that Fang made, that breathing room that CS Packer got, he's been able to just run with it and hold that gap to Fang, which shows how crucial that slipstream was. Because I think if Fang and CS Packer were still within slipstream range and working together, Hammy doesn't have a whole lot of chance to make up that time. But we see the gap now down to 1.1 seconds, 1.0 as they come through this left-hander.
Yeah, so the podium is by no means finalised, is it? Anyone's
No,
raced
definitely not. And if Hammy catches up to Fang's tail here and instead of overtaking him for the position, decides to bump draft for these last few laps, then they could be battling for second, not battling for third.
Yep. This is going to play. This will be interesting to play out.
Honestly, if I'm Hammy at this point and I catch back up to Fang, I'm going for that move. I want that position. I've worked my ass off getting back up here. I want that spot, and he is 3/10 ahead of his fastest lap time, so looking to dip into them 28s if he can have a really good last minute and a half of his lap here.
Can he get
Which
to
is
the
a lot
slip?
to say, because a minute and a half is a full lap around some tracks, so...
He's certainly got a better exit than Fang out of that turn, so he's bringing the gap down. But
Yep, but not
geez,
in slip.
I'd be inclined to wait until the 17th lap if I could to make that move. Because whoever's trailing here, if you're in his slip, whoever's second here is going to be leading coming out of this corner. And if you're leading coming out of this corner, then you've got it pretty much.
Look at the gap.
Yep.
He's got it down under 7/10. So Hammy is in slipstream range after having to work so hard to get this time back. Oh no, he's dipped the tyres on the grass.
Don't do it again, bro.
Be careful, Hammy. Oh my goodness. Going to give me a heart attack there. He's almost 6 tenths up on his fastest lap. So
he's going for it.
He is absolutely pushing this car for everything that he can. Fang pulling back out of that slipstream range, having a better run through that left-hander.
Yeah, Fang is
actually a better run through this final corner too.
Fang's made a bit of ground on CS Packer there as well, so...
Yep.
Fang
They're joining
with the better
the party.
exit there as well, so no slipstream for Hammy to finish the lap, but he's definitely closing it. And a 28.8 from Hammy there, so his fastest lap of the race coming out. While Fang only managed a 29.4 and CS Packer with a 29.9.
Can I just apologise to Palmer now, because we're not going to see much of him in the last 2 laps of the race. Because this is on for second here.
Absolutely,
anyone could get second here.
Yeah, look,
the rest
it's
of the
a real
field's
arm
fairly
wrestle at the
spread
moment.
too, so this is definitely where the action's going to be if it does happen.
It's definitely an arm wrestle for slipstream at the moment, and no one is getting that advantage yet. Every now and then Hammy will get into it, which she nearly did again.
Yep.
But then,
so close.
Fang finds something. Yeah.
Yeah, Fang definitely has a couple of parts of the track where he's stronger. He's got about 3 tenths extra in the last sector of the track, where he pulls some time on Hammy every time. But Hammy's within the slip now.
He's there again.
Fang also pulls away a little bit on the run down to the bridge through those sweeping corners. Fang holds a bit more pace through there and pulls the car up a little better. Oh, Hammy's deep.
Oh.
And there goes that slipstream again.
There goes that slip.
Oh, he was right on him.
He's floating with it.
Coming
Maybe
up to that section you just mentioned too, where Fang is quicker.
Yep.
Oh, a bit of arm code there, not ideal.
I'd expect to see that gap come back out to about 1.3 seconds through here if Fang can nail it. Hammy's actually got a really nice run through there that time. So he's got his timing right. Fang just getting it over a second, but Hammy with a better run onto the bridge.
And Fang will be into the slip of CS Packer here. He's got an amazing run out of that onto that bridge.
And as we saw,
not quite.
As we saw with the last time Hammy was able to catch up to him, as soon as Fang's in that slipstream, he can't get past. So if Hammy's
he's fallen out of it now.
If Hammy is going to get third, now is the time that he has to do it, and he is in that slipstream for this massive straight. He's going to be right on Fang's rear bump here.
Yeah, and Fang's not in CS Packer's slip this time. Oh, but he is reeling him in. He's
very
he will
close
get into
to
it. Yeah, he'll get into
What's he going to do?
Comes Hammy.
Is he going to go for it? No,
he's gone for the
decides to bump. He wants second. He wants second.
I'm going to pull my hair out.
No, he needs to do it He needs to do it on the last lap.
Look at the
stay under there
thinking.
now.
Yeah, good.
I would have
gained it, mate.
I would have sent it there and then tried to chase down CS Packer myself. I would have tried to build that gap throughout the part of the track where I'm stronger. But definitely Hammy trying to play the long game. But I feel that bump might have cost him a chance at second place.
I don't know. They've made
Fang is now in CS Packers. Yeah, Fang is in the draft. Oh,
Packer's on the grass. Fang's got a slow exit. Hammy could have taken the spot there as well.
Everyone.
This is going to the wire, folks. I can tell you right now.
That is the best exit I have seen from Hammy out of that last corner as well. Again,
how's he going to go for it? What's he going to do?
Here he
goes for it.
Don't bump now.
Taking the inside through turn 1. He's going to give him the outside. Oh, he taps the brakes coming through there, so not too keen on being able to go up the inside without making the contact with Fang.
Packer's gotten away.
And Hammy really needs to go for this now. But I feel like it might be a little too late. And he goes for the bump again. I'm not sure what happened there. He tried to pull out a little too late, I think. There he goes again. He's given Fang another bump, pulling out too late. Oh, Fang rolling
that's
off
deep.
early
That's
there.
deep. That's really deep.
Yeah.
No, that was Fang lifting off. Fang gave him the spot there. Oh, he's gotten loose out of the corner.
Hammy!
But maybe Fang thinking along the lines with us and thinking if he can stay within range of Hammy, he can get him back with that final sector to go. But Hammy's already broken the slip and he's away.
And Hammy just needs to settle down now. He's got that third position. Keep the head down and get Fang out of his slipstream.
Take the money and run.
He's well and truly done so, but I bet that adrenaline is pumping. He's been chasing down Fang for 16 laps.
Well, he's making ground on CS Packer now too. So now that he's been released from Fang,
he's doing it fast enough.
How's his tyres? How's his fuel?
Definitely, CS Packer has a lot more fuel and Hammy has better tyres. So heavier car on CS Packer and some more tyre wear, but 2 seconds is a lot to ask.
Well, it's going to take his one mistake on one corner from Packer, and Hammy will be right on his bumper.
Absolutely. See that gap just floating around the 2 second mark. Hammy with a nice run onto the bridge, as we've seen the last time around as well, and he's well and truly dropped Fang off into the distance. Fang very low on fuel actually, might be he's in fuel mode 6. Is Fang.
Oh, okay, that explains it.
So I have a little bit of a visual bug where I can see what Fang's got his thing set to. So he has 4% fuel remaining and he's in fuel map 6.
Wow, so he really underfueled in the pit stop.
He certainly did. Hammy's still with over 10% to get him around. It just starts ticking now.
Fang would have been relying on getting slipstream from CS Packer for his fuel to last.
Yeah, Fang's going to struggle to maintain 4th here, I think.
Also, Gordo in 7th place is about 1 second behind Renegade. Was just within slipstream range, but went a little bit wide through the right-hander coming onto this back straight.
Yeah, he's not quite there.
Guys, Darth Berserk.
But with all of that said, Palmer in first is going to take the race win here. 25 seconds clear of second. A masterclass in the Porsche. Congratulations, Palmer. What a drive.
Yeah, well done, Palmer.
Well done.
25 seconds. Wow.
He didn't get a whole lot of airtime there, so I thought we've definitely got to jump on board with him taking that win. But CS Packer
rounding the last turn now. He'll take out second. Hammy to the bone has got the gap to under a second, so really pacey towards the end of that race as well. Hammy to the bone.
If he made the move on Fang earlier, that gap might have been a lot less. But
Berserk's having a go.
Maybe, but Berserker is all over Fang.
Oh, that was close.
Renegade's going to hold on to 6th by the looks of it. Gordo is going to come home in 7th in the Jag. Then we have a little bit of time between himself and Soul Reaper.
Yeah, Soul Reaper is he's still 30 seconds from finishing this gap. Tormentor's on the back straight at the moment, and LP Almonds is 3/4 of a lap to go. So those guys have had a few issues tonight.
Yeah, apologies if we didn't show those guys much, but there was just so much going on for that battle for second place. What an epic battle.
Yeah, here we see Soul Reaper coming across the line to claim that 8th place. So, very, very well done by him. It's a tough job in that Genesis. I know the captain is not enjoying it as much as he was in the preseason, so definitely a tricky car to get a handle on.
Yeah, but that was an intense battle. That was a 17-lap arm wrestle between those three guys.
Tormentor's off again.
Tormentor.
Oh, unlucky dude.
Luckily for him, he does have a minute 14 spare in his pocket here to
keep it together, bro. Keep it together.
Back to Almonds. And I think I don't think Almonds is going to beat the timer here, as Tormentor takes 9th, 1 minute 14 second gap. That is that's pretty brutal, really, to race for an hour and unfortunately not be able to cross the line and confirm your time.
Yeah, some stuff must have gone on, but apologies that we didn't capture it.
Yeah, looking at his lap times, he's had a rough night. 3:39s with a consistent lap time for LP Armours tonight.
It's definitely a very tricky track. It's one that I know a lot of people don't race regularly, so you can't jump in and be comfortable on, like with something like Bathurst. You know, you can jump in. You know, most people here have done plenty of laps at Bathurst. It's something that you don't have to. It's a massive track. It's got some tricky corners too. So, yeah, unfortunately, he's going to.
Yeah, he's run out of time.
Just run out of time, unfortunately, and Mr. Navoli with a DNF.
So Palmer with an hour and 40 seconds.
That's a nice time there. That is a very nice time from Palmer there. Because I believe Apex Humper in top split got an hour 32 for a bit of reference. So.
Wow. Yeah, that's very quick then. That would have put him in that split.
Question: did someone at the start of the broadcast
There's a couple of guys who had a bit of dramas and stuff, but yeah.
So yeah, a bit of a gap back to CS Packer and Hammy to the Bone and Fang, who, well, apart from Fang running out of fuel there towards the end, those guys arm wrestled through the entire race.
Yeah.
Just wondering, did someone at the start of the stream nominate an hour 40 seconds as the winning time?
I don't think so. Anyway, we'll move
No?
on.
Oh, okay.
Big congratulations to big congratulations to Palmer. That was a masterclass on his part there. He took pole. He took the race win. He got the fastest lap. I mean, what more can you ask? Absolutely.
Yeah, it was the CS Palmer night tonight, and we now have a new corner. I think it would be the Berserk Bend.
Yes, absolutely. I think I counted
the Darth Wall.
5 little excursions there. What do we call it? Turn 1, or is it turn 1 or turn 2? I don't know.
It'll be turn 2.
Turn 2 after the kink. Yeah.
Definitely renaming that one.
Yeah. Well, we've got
Berserk
Defco
Bend.
Corner at
Autopolis,
don't we? So why not?
Yep. We've got a couple of corners named after some members here after some interesting incidents, we'll say.
Well, repetitive mistakes. Some people just don't learn, do they?
No, and it's a big part of enduring the race. Once your tyres go off, you got to know to brake that little bit sooner. Same with when you're slipstreaming, lift off maybe a little earlier and stuff. So, yeah. But
yeah, he certainly managed to find that Armco though quite regularly tonight. There must have been magnets in there attracted to his car. It's the only thing that explains it.
Something to do with that model Mercedes.
Yeah.
But on that note, I think we'll end it off there. A big thank you to Devil for joining me here in the commentary box.
Yeah, thanks, Dragon.
Yeah, and a big thank you to Ando for rocking the visuals.
Cheers, guys. That was fun. I really enjoyed that.
It was a lot of fun.
Good driving. Div 4, well done.
Definitely. We hope to see you guys joining us next week. Thank you very much.